All right. Well, I'm going to kick things off as I admit people through this waiting room on Zoom, and people are, coming in the room here. My name is Ilana Huber-Katz. I am the Director of Coaching Business Development here at Keller Williams Legacy in Towson, Maryland. And I'm so excited about today's topic, upshifting your lead generation. And so this is going to go right until about noon. And there will be, hopefully, some participation. Hopefully it's not me just talking for an hour, because nobody wants that. I mean, I can talk for an hour, those who know me. Doug, don't say anything. But through this, there will be, I'm hoping, some participation, some activities, some feedback, because you're taking time out of your busy day to tune in. So I'd love to hear from you guys, from all of you in person and on Zoom. Few housekeeping items on Zoom. Number one is throughout this, there's a lot of material in a short amount of time. I could probably actually teach this class for like 3 hours and still not cover everything. But we are condensing because nobody has time for that. We got to get out and sell some houses. So a few housekeeping items. Number one is if you can please keep yourself on mute. And if you have questions throughout, there's going to be some times where I ask people to take themselves off of mute, participate, ask questions. Don't worry, I will not call on you, but I will ask for volunteers. And hopefully someone volunteers, and I'm just talking to myself. Also, if you can please put your camera on if you're able to on your Zoom, that would be fantastic. It just makes it, again, way more engaging. To see some smiling faces this morning. So I'm not just talking to myself on Zoom, although we do have some people in the room here also. Hey, what's up? Welcome. Oh my God, thank you, Carmen. So I want to kick this off before we start in the actual material. Live question. When I say live question, that means I'm going to hang out and wait for a response. And by the way, I can totally outwait everybody. I've literally stood here once on Zoom for a really uncomfortable 5 minutes. Like, no lie. I'm just drinking my coffee. Like, what's up? When you hear upshifting your lead generation, what are you hoping to walk away from this hour class with? What do you want to walk out of the room, walk out of Zoom with? What information?
To understand exactly what that means.
I love that. To understand exactly what that means. That is rather important. Yes. Love that. What else?
Am I echoing?
Oh, so Doug says some tips and tricks. And Brianna, what was that?
I was going to say more effective lead generation strategies.
More effective lead generation strategies. Love that. We are going to talk about some of that. Yep.
I feel like we all get lead generation, how to actually use it.
So in the room, it was how to get the most out of lead generation, how to make it more purposeful and profitable. Yeah, exactly. The 2 P's, purposeful and profitable. I like that. I actually just came up with that, so I totally want to remember that. Doug, can you write those 2 words down for me? I feel like I need to use that in some other thing. Doug's going to be like, my words were. Awesome. All right. Again, throughout this, a lot of material, a lot of information. We're going to have a few activities. You're going to walk away, by the way, with 2 mini homework assignments for you. I like to call them homework. They're also called action items. I just like the word homework. So let's get started. Let's dive in. And again, throughout this, as you have questions, feel free to throw them in the chat box. I will be looking at the chat box throughout this to answer all of your questions. All right, what we're going to go through, we will be walking through perspective, outwit, outplay, outlast, find the motivated, sources of leads. That is probably number 4 is probably the one that most agents are like, oh, get to number 4 already. And then just the bottom line, the takeaway. Cool. Hello. Good morning. So let's talk about perspective. Here's the thing, at the end of the day, if you're not going to lead, if you're not going to generate leads, you are not going to have a business. Is that a true statement? Okay, let's define the word lead, because the word's lead generation, just, so I started in real estate in 2015 as a inside sales associate for a very large expansion team where I smiled and dialed for 6 hours out of 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, headset on. I dialed about 300 to 500 numbers a day, talked to about 30 to 40 people per day, set about 8 to 10 appointments per week, motivated, pre-approved listings and buyers ready to go. So real appointments with a conversion rate of about 70%. So I called myself a lead generation machine. I was literally a lead generation machine. Then moved into being an agent. So obviously that helped me be an agent and know how to lead generate. So the thing is though, when 2016, 17, I moved into being a full-time coach. And one thing I learned in coaching a few hundred people over the past few years is everybody has a different definition for those two words. And they sometimes have a negative feeling behind them. Can we agree on that, some of us? Right? So when you hear lead generation, what comes to mind? What do you think? Yes. Thank you. Networking with people. It doesn't always have to be pick up the phone. Do we need our phone in our business at some point in time? 100%. Voice is always king, right? Or queen, whichever one you want to go with. Voice to voice will always beat out anything. But lead generation is just that. It's not just picking up the phone and calling people all the time. It's belly to belly, face to face, right? It's hanging out at a dog park with fellow dog lovers, right? Lead generation is actually simply connecting with somebody in some manner about real estate. It's having a real estate conversation. If right now, every single one of you, hint, hint, we're about to do an activity. If right now, every single one of you were to pick up your phone, I know we're in class and I just said that, go to whatever social media account you are active on your phone, whether that be Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, LinkedIn, it's way too many, TikTok. God, there's way too many sites. If you were to right now go to your social media, find one person and DM them. Don't be commenting in 100 strand comments, but DM them. Hey, just obviously put this in your own terminology. But for me, it's, hey, reaching out to like, hey, Doug, hope you're having a great morning. I'm reaching out to all my social media people to see what real estate needs you have anytime this year or who you know that I may help. Bam, lead generation right there. So what I want you to do right now, it's all about taking action. Every single person on Zoom and in the room, I want you to take out your phone. I want you to go to your social media account. If you don't have social media, text somebody. And I want you to either text or DM somebody. I don't care who, it can be anybody you want. It could be your sister. Asking them any real estate needs they have, or if they know anybody about real estate. Obviously make it nice, like, hey, good morning, how are you? You know, personalize it. All right, take 45 seconds to do that. When you're done, I want you to look up. Let me know you're done. Quick text or quick DM. If you're still typing, keep typing. I'm just going to talk as you're typing. Okay. Let me ask, was that difficult? Was that difficult? So we have a nod, a head nod, yes. What made it difficult?
I was asking, like, it's like, we usually just comes up with conversation and then we go from there. For me, I feel like I was just, asking for business and it's like, I don't know if it's different.
So, thank you. In the room, I asked if that was difficult. And here's the thing, some people are going to say no, some people will say yes. If you've never done it, the answer is usually yes, because it's new. And I like that you said that, because you said it's not my typical way of doing business. It's not my typical way of bringing it up organically in a conversation. You were legitimately asking for business. Another way to think about it is you were asking if you could help somebody or if anybody needed help throughout this year. In a little bit, we're going to talk about mindset shift. We're also going to talk about, there's a reason why I specifically had you text those words or message those words. Was that a direct message? Was that very direct? Absolutely. You're going to learn a little bit the difference between indirect and direct messages and why in a shifting market, it's much more important to be more direct than indirect. We're going to talk about that today. All right. By the way, you all lead gen. Congratulations. That literally was lead gen right there. You took 45 seconds, you messaged one person and you lead gen. So what would that look like if you did that times 20 per day? Do you think you get business? Definitely. Good answer. Good answer. So we talk about at Keller Williams, the word shift or shifting market is brought up a lot. And it's because we want to prepare agents for when it happens. Traditionally in a shifting market, it is nationwide. The market, buyers and sellers market, tends to shift every 7 to 11 years. We are past the 11-year mark. It was actually supposed to happen in 2020. But then we had this really weird thing happen in 2020 that will not be named. And it took the market in a completely different direction that not even every single market researcher out there predicted. So now it's, well, when's it going to happen? Right? Not in a fearful way. Oh, she said it worked. So a shifting market is not a fearful thing. It's how do you prepare for when it happens, right? In a market where there's many buyers, many sellers, transacting business, let me actually say those words properly. We know what to say. We know that leads are plentiful, and we know we can, if we put some effort in, we'll find success. In a shifted market, there's fewer transactions, fewer buyers, fewer sellers, fewer everything. Interest rates kind of rise. There's fewer of closings. There's fewer business out there. So it's learning how to what's called double down in the right activities to capture the business that is out there. There's always business. The difference is the agents who learn and master how to double down in it, we'll talk about what that means and give examples, will master a shifted market. Well, let me ask you this. What if the market doesn't shift for another few years? We have no prediction. We thought it was going to happen in 2020. Every market research said 2020. Didn't happen. Everything prepared for it. We had classes in 2019 for it. We were reading books. Like we had a book club about it. I mean, we were buckling down. What happens if it doesn't shift for another year, but you learn how to double down in your business? What happens to your success?
Yeah, we just kick ass in the hot market and then prepare for when it slows down.
We kick ass. I am being recorded. Sorry about this. We kick ass in a hot market. And when it slows down, we're prepared. Perfect words. I'm just going to leave them right there. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about mind shift. Okay. Negative framing versus reality framing. When you think about lead gen, what's the negative mindset sometimes we have around it? When we think about lead generation and doubling down on lead generation and making a habit out of it every day, 5 days a week minimum. Or if you work a full-time job and you're dual career, doubling down on weekends and maximizing your time there. But many agents have a negative mindset towards it for a reason. What's that reason? Why do we have that? So I hear daunting. And you get a lot more no's than yeses. Absolutely. So it's daunting. We get more no's than yeses. 100%. What else? What do you guys think?
As like a salesperson. Like,
You could come across a salesperson. By the way, is that a bad? I've been in sales over 20 years. And every type of sales you could ever imagine. I would get kicked out of buildings. I was in like hardcore knock on door sales. You name a type of sales, I was probably doing it. I used to have this very negative mind, even though I was in sales and I liked it because I liked the money. I used to have a very negative mindset around that word, sales. Are we actually in sales? Ooh, say it louder. Thank you. We're in relationship business. We can't physically sell a house. I cannot walk up to Carmen right now on Zoom and I can't say to Carmen, hey, Carmen, this is your house. You're going to buy it today. Here you go. It's this much money and here's your keys. Right? Now, if Doug holding that pen right there in your hand, if he needed to take notes and he ran out of ink and he desperately needed a pen, could I pick up a pen and walk over and said, hey, for 50 cents, I'll sell you this pen. I can sell him a pen. We can't sell a house. The market sells houses. We educate and consult our clients. We are educators, relationship builders, and consultants. We're there to help people with the biggest transaction of their life. And if we don't help them, could somebody out there who maybe doesn't care as much as us pretend to help them? Does anybody know somebody out there who's maybe an agent, don't name the names, who's maybe an agent in this industry somewhere in the world who maybe is in this for the wrong reason or not a great agent or doesn't have great customer service skills? Or you ever come across, even not just an agent, just customer, you ever been to a restaurant or a store and just have horrible customer service? And it makes you not want to go back? Well, what if everybody you know gets stuck with that horrible customer service person? Because you didn't reach out to them because you thought it was daunting and you thought you were salesy. And it was too direct. Now they're stuck with this horrible person who might talk them into the wrong house. Different mindset?
You still have to do it in a way that's not going to turn them off, right? That's the kind of tool that's the gap
Yep.
for me. Like when somebody randomly reaches out to me that I haven't spoken to since high school, I'm like, all right, what nutrition powder or essential oil or eyelashes or makeup are you trying to sell me on your MLM?
Yeah, and I love that you said that because one of the things we're going to go through is a mini script. By the way, the word script, Keller Williams changes the word dialogue or conversation. The word script is literally just words you haven't used before that you can put into your organic conversations. That is the definition of a script. It is not to be scripted. It's to give you words you might not have known before or used before to help you. So we're going to talk about different dialogue options that you have to make it more organic, but still be direct, because in a shifting market, you have to be more direct than indirect. We'll give you examples of that. So if we want to change from negative to what's called reality framing, right? Or closed mindset to open mindset, what is a different thing that we could say about real estate? How do we, or not real estate, lead generation? How do we shift the mindset? What can we say about it?
I say maybe you could think about it as, what we always talk about is coming from contribution. instead of, I don't know,
Mhm.
instead of asking or telling or asking people, you know, who do you know, you can provide them with information that they might need. One thing that we do here, I mean, I'm the productivity coach in Crofton, is we do a lot of client events for the market center.
Mhm.
So for the new agents, we just tell them, get on the phone and invite them to something that we're doing. And then it's, oh, by the way, it
Right,
makes
so
it
you're
easier for
coming-
them.
I love that. So an affirmation is, I am coming from contribution. That's you saying, I'm coming from by doing this, I'm coming from contribution, right? I love that. What else is Ken, you were about to say something prior to that? You've had a positive mindset to it? So saying, I am a resource. Right? I am coming from contribution. I am a resource. I love those. You can also say, lead generation is my business. Without it, I have no business. That is a true statement. An agent recently, I don't know if she's on here or not, she asked me a great question. So I was in a coaching appointment literally Monday this week. And she says to me, she goes, I've watched some videos, and some of the things I've heard, she's a brand new agent. She goes, some of the things I've heard scare me because it says sometimes agents don't get their first piece of business, it takes them a year to have one closing. And I said, I absolutely can name a number of agents who takes them a year to get one closing. And I can name agents who've had 12, 24, 36 closing in 1 year. And there was only one thing that is the difference between those two. And what is that one thing? Lead generation conversations. This agent who had one closing in a year, because they fell into it, we'll call it, right? So they made enough to pay their board dues. This agent focused on fancy things. They focused on, let me make a pretty website. Let me spend 3 months creating business cards where everybody throws them away anyways. We should be having electronic cards these days. It's 2022, right? Let me focus on everything other than what this agent's focusing on, which is how many people can I connect with today to talk about real estate? That is the only difference between a producing agent and non-producing agent. That is it. There's nothing else. It is that simple, but not easy. It's not easy because it's a habit, and it's a difficult habit. It's like going to the gym after you've never gone to the gym for years, right? And getting back into that. Just skip ahead for just a little bit. Don't mind me. Moving out. Okay. So let's talk about the power of one. The very first thing that you as an agent need to know for this year is, what is your goal for closed transactions? Why do we need to know that? Why, as an agent, do you need to know your goal for closings? If you don't know, then how are you going to know where you're going? Also, numbers tell a story. So if somebody says to me, I want to make $100,000. I can say to them, okay, depending on cost price of house, on average, you're going to need 2 closings a month. Now, not everybody you meet with will sign with you. So you're going to need to meet with 4 people to get 2 people to sign with you until you perfect your craft. Okay. Now, not everybody you set an appointment with actually shows up or is motivated or is pre-approved and ready to go. So you'll need about 8 appointments to get people to show up. So if you don't know how many closings you want, how do you know when you walk into the week, right? There's an agent we have here. He tracks his numbers. He knows his conversions. He knows his numbers. Next week, Wednesday, 11 o'clock, Mark Simone is leading lead capture and conversion. And it's all about knowing your numbers. numbers tell a story. So this agent knows that if he goes into every Monday saying, I need 2 new motivated appointments this week to hit my goal. Do you think he's going to hit his goal? Now let's take it one step back. What do we need to have to set appointments? Conversations. We can't have appointment. We can't just wake up in the day. This is not HGTV, right? So we can't just wake up in the morning and be like, where is my magical appointment come from? If, by the way, if you figure that out, please let me know, because it's been years and I haven't figured that out yet. Okay. No, we have to have a number of conversations to get that number of appointments. Numbers mean something, right? On average, I can tell you, I mentioned back in the day, I was a lead gen machine, 6 hours a day, 6 hours a day, 5 days a week, smiling and dialing. The person who says, I don't want to do it for an hour, please come talk to me. Okay. It was not easy. I gamified it. I gave myself a little, if I hit this, I get to walk across the street and get a munchkin from Dunkin' Donuts. If I hit this number, I get to go buy a pair of shoes this weekend. It was I have a shoe obsession. I'm sorry. We have to make it fun, right? So yeah, what's your goal? And then how many hours daily are you gonna lead generate to make sure you hit that goal? In a shifted market, does anybody happen to know the number of hours that is highly recommended by top producing agents nationwide, which, by the way, so there's 2 books. There's the red book, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, right? Which is our how-to guide. Right? This has produced more millionaire real estate agents than any other book out there. True story. But then there's this book, The Shift. So in this book, it talks about how many hours, based on hundreds of top producing agents being researched, an agent should focus on lead generation per day if they want to maintain and actually hit their goals in a shifted market. Anybody know how many hours per day? So standard in a traditional market, 2 hours is typical, absolutely. And then you said 3 to 4 in a shifted market. 100% it's 3 hours. Yep. Now here's the thing. You can focus on hours. I will tell you this, as a coach, one of my favorite things is focusing on goals instead. So instead of hours, what if you said, what's today, Wednesday? So what if everybody said today, Wednesday the 27th, I am going to connect with, now this could be voice to voice, in person, text to text, DM to DM, not email. Email does not count, okay? I'm gonna connect with X number of people. And that's and your day does not end. Now it might take you an hour, it might take you 3, it might take you 5. But now you have a goal number. So we're going to take a quick second before I move forward here. I want everybody to write down, what is your goal for closings this year? And then write down, how many people do you want to connect with per day? Now I will tell you this, it cannot be any less than 10 per day. It cannot be, which means 50 a week. So if you have a full-time job, you're like, I can't do 10 a day, but I have all this time on Saturday. I'm just saying that between Monday and Sunday, because we have a 7-day week, we're in real estate, between Monday and Sunday, we'll hit 50. I just break it down because I like thinking about 10, 10, 10. Okay, so it can be more than that, but it can't be less than that. So everybody take a minute and write down that number for you. we're writing down what is our goal for closed transactions this year? And then what is our goal for how many connections do we want to make per day? And it cannot be less than 50 in a week.
I was on the Zoom, but I.
Well, your phone takes great. Does anyone want to share what they wrote down? If I want to share their goals, I'd love to hear a goal. Yes, in the room.
I'm going to sell
Mm-hmm.
13 million.
13 million in volume. Do you know how many closings get you 13 million in volume?
So normally I sell 15 homes. So that I know that even I had to double up in amount of sales, my sales price has increased. I had to double what I probably.
Okay, so to hit 13 million in volume goal, you either have to raise your average home sale price or double your amount of sales that you did last year. Okay, so now that's where you make the decision. That's where you're like, okay, what do I want to do? Right, and that's this thing. This is your business. So there was no wrong. Every answer that she gave was the right answer because it's her business and how she wants to do it. Right. So if the answer is, which I text you, we're meeting at 1 on Monday, so we'll talk about that. So if the answer is, I want to raise my price point, so I work smarter, not harder, and then I can hit my goal faster. Right. Now it's going to be, how do I do that? Now, what was the goal for how many connections per day? 15 connections per day, 5 days a week? Okay.
No, actually 6 days. I try to take 1 day off.
Perfect. So 15 connections per day, 6 days a week. Do you think that's going to get her to her goal? What do we think? It could, exactly. So it could, that's a great number of connections. I like that you're doing 6 days a week right now because in this market, we need to. We have to up our game. I'm going to say something that I know people do not want to hear. And I remember sitting in this room back in, oh God, what year was it? 2015, 2016, one of those years. And people were talking to people. I sat in this class back then, and there was an instructor up front. It was 2015. I was a brand new agent. And the instructor said, if you do not do this, you don't double down, you don't build a habit on connections, you don't make more connections than you typically make, what will happen? Oh, absolutely. Past clients, sphere of influence. We'll talk about sources in just a minute, right? It's just having real estate. I can call up my friend. Well, actually, my best friend sent me a text this morning of a picture of a house. And she goes, this is coming soon. I really like it. Can I put an offer in ahead of time? And I'm like, I thought you were moving to Florida, but now you're looking in Severn. I'm so confused. But just this morning, she texted me the picture of the house. I text her back. That was, bam, lead generation. I wasn't even planning on it, and I did it, right? Yeah, past clients, future clients, sphere of influence, call your mom, all those people. Absolutely. No, okay, I thought that was a question. So we need to study, practice, and time on task. And if we do not do these 3 things, I say we as all of us as agents, what do you think will happen in a shifted market? You won't be successful. Oh, go ahead. Yep.
How often should we meet? So once I get home, I'm going to create a spreadsheet of who I talk to and so I can try to track my goals. How often should I touch the same 15 people that
Good question. So let me repeat it for Zoom. So we have this prep sheet of who we're going to talk to in your week, right? And out, right, in your day, in your week, etc. And how often do we keep touching the same 15? I'm going to answer that in a few different ways. One is it depends on the conversation. If I call 50, so by the way, calling is not connecting. You might have to call or text or DM 40 people to connect with 15. The connection is what we're looking for, not this front part. Okay? You keep going until you make that 15. Now, based on that, it depends on the conversation. So out of those 15, here's what's going to happen. So you connect with 15 today. You're going to have, and I'm going to use example numbers, so don't quote me on these numbers. Okay? You're going to have, I'll make it simple, 5. We're like, man, oh my God, great to hear from you. Can't talk, super busy, reach back out. Cool. Depending on who they are, reach back out this week, reach back out next week. You haven't connected with, I mean, you connected, meaning you heard voice to voice, but you haven't had a conversation yet. Two different things. Then another 5 is going to be like, oh man, I don't have any real estate needs. I don't know anybody with real estate needs. Right? I'll keep you in mind if I come across anybody, but like, thanks for reaching out. Right? If there's somebody in your sphere, like past client, friend or family, someone on social media, honestly, once a quarter. Once a quarter. The next 5, you're going to have, in that next 5, you will have 1 who has a real estate need at some point this year. It might be now, it might be June, it might be November. It doesn't matter. If somebody says I have a real estate need within now to 12 months out, that is your pipeline, that's your success. You're building a pipeline. Thank you. Okay. You need a really strong pipeline of people. So 1 is going to be that extra, like that, oh my God, I got this 1. Now, when I say I got this 1, doesn't mean 1 for today, could mean 1 for September, but you want business in September. So that's a huge win. That person you're going to reach out to every single month to keep in touch, because the month you don't reach out is the month they decide to do something with another agent. The other 4 are probably like, well, I might know somebody, let me reach out. I don't know. We might want to do something in the next 2 years. So those conversations will, and when we talk Monday about systems, those will be put on what we call a smart plan or drip campaign to let the system follow up for you. And then you'll just be, again, once a quarter. So that was the long answer to say it varies depending on what they say to you. So talk about studying, outwit, outplay, outlast. You need to be a master of the market. What are some great way now? Granted, they're on the screen right here, right? But for you guys, like, what is a great way to master the market? What's something you could do this weekend, this coming weekend, to learn about different neighborhoods? Anybody on Zoom? Market reports. What about going to open houses? Swing by an open house. Learn the market. Visiting houses, looking at showings, looking at new developments, showing up at sales offices at new builds. Getting with your lenders. We have primary residential sitting right there in our office every single day, 5 days a week, literally at that table. You can walk up to, and every day they are on a Zoom to learn something new about what's being offered, different programs, different interest rates. An agent yesterday just told me he's been working with this buyer who is pre-approved for a certain amount and looking at houses around 450. But the interest rates just changed. Now that buyer can only afford 420. Is that important to know about the market? If you're working with a buyer right now, or you are talking to someone, let's say you connect with 15 people today and one person's thinking about buying, but thinks they want to wait. Knowing the market and knowing about interest rates do you think you might be able to educate them to maybe help them not have to wait? And would that be important to them, not to us? This isn't about us. That buyer that this agent is, I don't know if he's on here, but that buyer that this agent is helping now has to change around his criteria because all of the houses he's been looking at were around 450. He can now only get 420 because of interest rates. Does that change the type of house and location? Absolutely. Right? We need to know the market because we need to educate our buyers on this and sellers, by the way. Okay. Feel free to take a picture of the screen. An activity that I highly recommend doing at some point between now and Sunday. Homework. An activity that is super highly recommended to do between now and Sunday is to go into Bright MLS and pull these different numbers. How many number of homes were sold in Baltimore County or whatever, Baltimore City, wherever you want to focus on in the past 90 days or the past 30 days? Right? How many number of homes are on the market? How many are pending? How many expired? All this you can get from Bright MLS. This is a great activity to do, honestly, once a month. And when you get really used to doing this once a month, you can usually whip it out in about 30 minutes. Once a month, 30 minutes, you will become an expert on the market to truly be able to educate the people that you're lead genning to. So again, take a picture of the screen because I'm about to move forward on it.
Maryland Association of Realtors also puts out a report monthly that touches on most of this stuff, but I do make sure to review.
Awesome. So Maryland Association of Realtors puts on a report. You can also go to the NAR, National Association of Realtors website for national stats, right? That's the thing, know your resources. I love that, thank you. All right. Knowing what price range is most active in your market. Does anybody know that right now?
$625 and up in the county at least.
In Baltimore County?
Yeah, it's certainly where you're getting the most bidding wars, I think.
So 625 and up in Baltimore County is where you're getting the most bidding wars. Okay. We have an agent who had 15 offers on their listing and it went for $90,000 above ask price. That's insane. Insane. And that's the market. A buyer says, oh my God, I really want to see this house, but can we go next week? What do we need to tell them? No, we're setting up for tonight because it'll be gone by next week. So let's set up a showing. Does 5 or does 6:30 work best? Let me check the showing schedule. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to have one of our lenders, Dan or Hunter, give you a call in the next 15 minutes or next hour to pre-approve you. So that way, if tonight you like it, we need to get an offer by tomorrow. Do you think that's educating them? I cannot repeat this word enough. We will all be the greatest teachers ever. Again, just reading your books, knowing about, just studying, become a student. Become a student of real estate, a student of the market. By the way, do not ever be the agent to make stuff up. Please don't. I had that experience. My husband and I, prior to getting into real estate, we were a renter for 7 years. We're like, we're going to buy our first home. First time home buyers knew nothing about real estate whatsoever because I wasn't in real estate yet. So we had this agent, who's by the way, no longer an agent. And the agent was very responsive through text, showing us homes every night. Hey, can we see this tonight? Yeah, let's go see this tonight. never educate us. He made stuff up about interest rates. He made stuff up about how long it takes to go through the process. He made stuff up about, oh, you don't need to talk to a lender until after you find a house. Oh, this guy just made stuff up. Right? The location we really, really like just fell in love with. He's like, oh God, yeah, you can absolutely get in here with both of your jobs and salaries you're telling me. How does he know that? He's not a lender. He's not a professional in that aspect. So fast forward, we ended up loving a house, going to get pre-approved after the fact, not getting pre-approved for the amount for that house. He said, no problem, just lowball it. Lowballing on it because we didn't know. We're just following the agent. The agent is the guide. We're just following our like it's following our GPS in our car, right? And we obviously did not get it. We're completely heartbroken and became renters for 2 more years. And then I got into real estate representatives. And now I love my house. So, and that agent got out of the business a year later. Oh, after he got into a huge lawsuit, let me say that. This agent ended up going to the courts, huge lawsuit. It was all the papers. It was intense, and then got out of real estate because he made stuff up. Don't be that agent. Oh, I guarantee you, he did not have any repeat clients. He did not build his referral business out of his fair. You ever go to that one restaurant where you're like, oh my God, I'm never going back there again? And then you tell all your friends never to go there again. I spent 2 years telling everybody I could possibly tell I preached this person's name in such a negative way. Like I am not a write a review person, but I absolutely was like, nope, don't use this person. Nope, don't use this. Oh, you never want to use this person. Do you want to be that agent who everybody walks around saying don't use? Yeah, don't be that guy. A horrible experience, horrible experience. But it ended up with a happy ending because I represent myself and got a great house. Okay. So we talked about a little bit about different ways to study to become an expert. Okay, so let me just move forward here to practice. What are we practicing? Conversations, yes. Why are we practicing conversations? Why do we want to practice our conversation?
So you can sound more natural.
To be quicker, to make it sound more natural. Yes, thank you, Carmen. Absolutely, right? Here's the thing, in the beginning, for every conversation, we should just treat that person we're talking to, even if we don't know them, like a new friend we're just making, right? Just think of that person as your long lost friend, right? If you're all hanging out, right? I want all of you right now to think about a name. Get a name in your head of a friend of yours that maybe you haven't talked to in a little bit. And let's say you tonight end up going to drinks and dinner with your friend. And you're sitting at the bar and your friend turns to you with their margarita and they're like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm gonna buy a house. How would you talk to your friend? Professionally, of course, but how would you talk to your friend, right? You probably wouldn't overthink talking to your friend and overthink the conversation. And oh my God, am I saying the right thing? Am I putting it in the right order? Am I asking the right questions? You're probably going to sit there and say, oh my God, that's awesome. Like, why do you want to buy a house? Tell me about it. What do you want it to look like? What do you want in the house? What location? This is super cool. Wow. Oh my God, you want a backyard? Is that for your dogs or like a playground? Like, what are we doing in the backyard? Here, they call it a conversation for a reason. If it wasn't a conversation and it's only a one-way, like I'm going to play 20 questions and I'm not going to listen to what you're saying. I'm just going to ask you the next question. That's what you don't want to do. That's not a conversation. Who are we making that about? Us or them? Us. And who should that conversation be about? Them. All right, I'm gonna give you guys a little cheat sheet that I personally created. This is my own personal cheat sheet. This is not in the notes here. Back in the day when I was setting 8 to 10 appointments a week. You guys ready for it? Keller Williams, we love our acronyms. So I was like, all right, I'm making an acronym up. So on your piece of paper, M for motivation. C for criteria. A for ability. T for time frame. Now there's a boatload of different acronyms to help you in conversations. In Keller Williams, there's something called LP Mama. If you want that one, text it to me. I can email you. So I have so many conversational cheat sheets, as I like to call them. I will put my email in the chat box. So if you email me, I will send you these. Let me actually do that right now, because if I don't do it now, I will absolutely forget. There you go. So if you email me, I will send you some of my personal conversational cheat sheets. But here's what, by the way, that's MCAT. I just gave you MCAT, MCAT. If every conversation you go into, you focus on MCAT, and here's what that sounds like. Doug, do you mind? You notice how in the beginning I said I wasn't going to call on anybody, and then I literally just call on you? It's just because you're wearing a bow tie. So let's say I am calling Doug, and I don't know him at all, but I know he might have an interest in maybe buying or selling. By the way, this is interchangeable. It doesn't matter whether he is buying or selling. We can put that word in either. This is a one-stop shop for any type of lead. So ring.
Hello, this is Doug.
Hey, Doug, this is Alana, Keller Williams Legacy. I am a local real estate agent. First, thanks so much for taking my call. I see you were playing with some homes online, and that's really exciting. What has you thinking about making a move?
Oh, sure. I just was offered a new job, so I was thinking about trying to reduce my commute and maybe find a place that's maybe a little bit bigger and a little bit closer to my job.
Okay, pause here. What has you thinking about making a move? That's my motivational question. It's the why. Why are they selling? Why are they buying? Why are they investing? We have to know the why to build a relationship, to show we care, but also to truly help them. Right? Especially if you work with, let's say, a buyer or seller who decides at some point, maybe they want to pause their search. If we don't know the why, we can't bring up their motivation. But if I know his why, now I can bring up, well, you know, Doug, I'm going to pretend like we had this entire conversation, by the way, so I'm going to make up some stuff. Doug, I know you just mentioned you want to pause things, but in the beginning, you mentioned really wanting to buy this new house, sell your house and get this new house specifically for a closer commute because you are driving an hour each way. That is 10 hours a week, and you are missing bedtime for kids. Feel the pain? If we don't know that info, now we're simply saying, oh my God, no, don't pause the search. You shouldn't do that. We've nothing to go off of. It also shows you care. I'm going to find out, like, what's the commute like? What does he want the commute to be? Who's all involved? Wow, he has 2 kids. What's that like? What else is important in this move? Digging for that motivation takes about 3 minutes. That's it, but it is the most powerful moment in the conversation. Now I'm going to find out criteria. What's the criteria? What are they looking for? That's the part we're very good at. Tell me about your house. What are you looking for? 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, this location, backyard, for my dogs, blah, blah, blah. Oh, and I need a garage. That's the logistics of it. The first part's the emotional aspect. The second part is the logistical aspect. By the way, people think on logic, but they act on emotion. Logic is, I want 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms with a 2-car garage in the county. Emotion is, I drive 10 hours a week for work. I'm home late. I miss my kids' bedtime. I want more time with my family. I have nowhere to park in the city. I want to get out of the city for better schools for the kids. Hear the difference? So we need emotion first, logic second. Ability is the financial ability. So it's either talking to a seller saying, hey, do you need to sell in order to buy? Are you caught up on your mortgage? How much do you owe on your house? If it's a buyer, it's have you talked to a lender yet? Let's get you connected. Let's get you pre-approved. Right? It's the financial ability. You paying in cash? Let's go today.
You need to sell by.
Do you need to sell to buy? Right? And then time frame. What's time frame?
Or you need to be there. What's your deadline?
What's your deadline? When do you want to be there? Not when do you want. By the way, the word move is funny because does anybody like moving? Has anybody moved more than once? I moved 16 times. I'm glutton for punishment. Does anybody like the act of moving? Okay, so we like the act of throwing stuff away, but how about I have to hire a moving truck or get a moving truck and pack the boxes and move the boxes and find people to help me to move boxes or hire someone and pay all this money. Oh, I'm just exhausted thinking about it. I know you're doing it right. Congratulations, by the way. Nobody likes the act of moving except for throwing stuff away. That's fun. But like the physical day, it's exhausting. So it's not when do you want to move? When do you want to sell your house? It's when do you want to have that shorter commute? Why? When do you want to be in a better school district? Why? When do you want more space so your kids are not driving you up the wall with sharing rooms? When do you want to fill in the blank with their words? That's the time frame. Because if Doug says to me, I want to be having a shorter commute by July, then what do I know? What do we know about how to help him? We need to start now because he wants to be in the house by July, right? If someone's like, wow, I really want to have that bigger house like now. Okay, so we're going to start now, right? Helpful? MCAT, greatest thing. By the way, when you take notes in your system, a best practice is to actually put those as notes, MCAT. And then write out that verbiage. So that way you know how to best follow up with people. How to better follow up with people, should I say. And then of course we talked about practicing. I cannot stress practice enough. Really, if you just partner with somebody, or even just a friend, a spouse, significant other, whoever, if you practice 15 minutes a day, 5 days a week, that's it, not an hour. You don't need an hour. If you practice 15 minutes a day, 5 days a week, and you focus on connecting with a minimum of 10 people a day, do you think that you might outproduce 50% of the agents out there? 100% yes. That's a proven number. Absolutely yes. If you do those two things, you will absolutely win. And if you don't, you won't. As simple as that. Okay, questions on any of that? Questions on anything we went over so far? Questions? So silent. Okay. So we already talked about this. We talked about 3 hours a day. Now you can say that. Let me block off 3 hours, or you can get into your day and say, my day, I want to connect with, for her example, 15 people today. That means that in her calendar, she needs to have time to get that. Now, if she hits 15 in 3 hours, great. If it takes her 4 hours, if it's 7 o'clock at night, she's like, oh my God, I have 12. Guess what? She's not done for the day. She needs 3 more. 3 more, right? Be really dedicated to your goals. Don't give up. Don't give up too easily. Now, at the very beginning, you talked about the no. A lot of times we give up before the yes. So back in the day, expireds and for sale by owners were like my bread and butter. I loved calling expireds and for sale by owners because I knew for a fact, I knew my numbers. If I called 10 for sale by owners, I was getting one appointment. If I called 20, sorry, talked to 20 expireds, I was getting one appointment. Now, what was interesting is I used to draw these little boxes on my whiteboard, and I would come in the morning, I would draw 20 boxes on my whiteboard. And I played the game Go for No. By the way, there's a book called Go for No. That's where I got it from. It's about this big. You don't need to read it. It's literally how many no's can you get to get a yes. Now you read the book. So every time somebody either cursed me out, cool, learn a whole new language, awesome, or hung up on me, or said, I'm not ready yet, click. Yes, I am one more no to my yes. And I would check off the box. Right? And if I look, visuals are important. If you look at the boxes and I am 10 boxes in, let's say 15 boxes in, and I'm like, oh my God, these people are horrible. They keep hanging up on me. Nobody wants to do anything today. This isn't working. Have I ever heard these words? We ever use these? Yeah, me too. Right? How many was I away from my yes? I was only 5 away from the yes. I gave up. So think of every no as they're not saying no, they're saying not today, not right now. That's all they're saying to you. They're saying, oh my God, my kid just spilled coffee on me and my boss just fired me and my husband just left me. Wow, that one looks super dark. Right? I just took that totally negative. Right? They're not saying no to you. They're just saying, I simply have a bad day. I'm not interested today to talk to you. Not right now. That means you're one away from your yes. You're one more closer to your yes, should I say. It's a game. It is a game. All right, so we are a little over time. So now it is action items. Let me take this off here. Here's the thing, trainings are only as good as the action you're gonna take. So we talked about setting your goal for how many closings you want. How many contacts are you going to make a day to make sure you hit your goal? And it cannot be less than 10. What does that look like in your calendar for your week? Is it 6 days a week? Is it 5 days a week? Is it 7 days a week? What do you want that to look like and when? Is it mornings, afternoons, evenings? What works for you? And then finally, what are the sources that you're going to use? Now, in the MRA book, there is a lead generation page that tells you all these different sources. I also have a document called 50 different ways to lead generate. It's 138 in the MRA book. Okay. And it's literally a page of, I don't even know how many are on this page, but over 25 different ways to find business. Real estate's everywhere. Your job is to figure out, what do I want my 3 sources, no more than 3 sources to be to capture it, to make it happen. Okay, so your action items are 1, study the market. From that slide that we had up, study the market between now and Sunday. Be an expert. 2, determine what lead sources you're going to go after. Do you want to make phone calls? Do you want to use social media? Do you want to take your dog to a dog park every single day and meet people with fellow dogs and talk real estate? Real estate's everywhere. Do you want to hang out at a bar and like talk to the person next to you every night? I don't know if I recommend that, but I'll say it because I know someone who does it. Right? Do you want to do open houses every weekend? Do you want to run social media ads? There's so many. Go talk to builders, form relationships. Hit up a for sale by owner every single day, 1 for sale by owner every day. Go knock on their door. Right? What are your 3 sources going to be? What does your calendar need to look like in your week to ensure that you're connecting with a minimum of 10 a day? Questions on any of that? Is that an action plan? Are you guys good with that action plan? How about on Zoom? Go with the action plan on Zoom? Any questions on Zoom? Okay, I will end with this. If you do not ask, the answer is always no. So if you have great conversations, but never be direct and ask, you will never, ever, ever have somebody actually say they have a real estate need, because people who are not in real estate do not think we need their business. They think we are all millionaires because they watch HGTV. Okay, so we have to educate the public. We have to educate our friends and family to say, I have this goal. I want to, one thing I learned in real estate is to hit my goals. I want to be helping my friends, my family, and people I know. So listen, any real estate needs that you have, or anybody you know with a real estate need, please come to me and let me help them. Any you have right now that I can help with? No? Think of me when you do. If you do not do that, they will not give you the business. So you have to be direct. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in and coming in person. For everybody here, I know lunch is, I think, actually out there. We have lunch, and then our regional owner, Tony Brody, is coming in to teach a wealth building class at 1 o'clock. Super exciting. And then at 4 o'clock, we have our all family meeting happy hour. So depending on what you have in the day, please hang out, join us, come in for the happy hour, great networking event and some fun times. Bye, everyone. Great seeing you, Carmen.